Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria Montefusco and I am a lover of all things when it comes to makeup, and today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite things in the world, which are eyeshadow palettes. So today I'm going to be telling you all if I could only keep 10 eyeshadow palettes, I know 10, what would those 10 eyeshadow palettes be? So I was inspired by Samantha March. She posted a video with this same subject, so I was like, dang, this is a really good idea. I should make a version of this video for my eyeshadow palette collection. So in case you all haven't seen my eyeshadow palette declutter, I have about 50 palettes, is in the high 40s, and there have been a few new eyeshadow palettes added to my collection since that declutter video, and I think one or two of them is in this video right now, so keep that in mind as well. So if you want to see what those 10 eyeshadow palettes are, please keep on watching. Alright, so when I was thinking about this video, I was thinking, let me make a really well-rounded collection. So a lot of the palettes I'm showing you all today are a bit on the bigger side, just because if I were only allowed to have 10 eyeshadow palettes, I'd want them to be as versatile as possible. But this first palette is on the smaller side. It's actually a quad. So this is the Tom Ford Double Indemnity quad. It's in the classic Tom Ford packaging, and when you open it up, this is what it looks like, and it's just 4 beautiful cool toned shadows. So the reason why I chose this quad to be in my 10 is because I figured out when I was putting together this collection that I had a bit of a lack of cool tones, so this would allow some cool tones and some more flexibility with neutrals in my collection in those 10 palettes, and B, because I could see myself using this palette like almost every day when it's time for me to go back into the office for work, whenever that is, and because it's just so easily blendable, these shadows, and these shadows are just so easy to use, so easily blendable, so beautiful on the eyes, and just effortless classic beauty. And there is some versatility in these 4 shades. So this is why I chose this Double Indemnity quad. I mean, these 4 shadows are just beautiful, beautiful cool tones. I love them. I have a video using this palette. If you all want to see it, I'd recommend you all give it a look, because I mean, I love this palette. I demoed it on my eyes, give you all first impressions. It's just beautiful. So this is the first palette I would include in my collection, the Double Indemnity quad from Tom Ford. The next palette is a newer one, which I also have a video on, and this is the Kaleidos and Angelica Nyqvist Club Nebula palette. So I chose this palette because it's a collab with one of my favorite YouTubers here on the platform, and B, because these metallics are so special and beautiful. These are a stunning metallic formula. I feel like this color story inspires me. It's very colorful, but also very dark, and so I feel like I could use this with another colorful palette that I have in this list as well to darken up some colors in here as well. And it's just beautiful, and it's just, it really inspires me to be like playful with color, so creative. I just love this palette. It's stunning. The only shades I had problems with were Queen of Blades and Void, which are that dark forest green and that navy blue on the top. For me left, for you right corner. But other than that, I mean, the shades are workable. They just take a little bit of time to get them to the place where I want them to be. But this is just a beautiful palette, beautiful, colorful palette. I feel like it would just do really well in a collection of these 10 palettes. So this is why I've included it in this list. The third palette I would include is this one right here. This is the Give Me Glow Juicy Olive palette. It's just a palette full of olive shades. I mean, the name really explains it well. The reason why I chose this palette is because I love grungy olivey greens, and bam, here's a palette for that. It was something where when I was curating these 10 palettes, which I realized, oh, I don't really have any grungy olivey tones, and so I knew I wanted that in here, and here's the palette to do it. And Give Me Glow's metallic formula is just unbeatable. These mattes are beautiful and just blend so easily. I just love this formula. I love this palette. I love grungy greens. So of course I had to include this in here. The fourth palette is also from Give Me Glow, and this is the Give Me Glow Christmas Morning palette. I mean, just look at those metallics. Oh my God. When it comes to makeup, I'm definitely like a magpie. I'm just attracted to shiny things. So this is why I love this palette. I mean, these metallics are unbeatable. That silver is like one of the best silvers in my collection, if not the best silver in my collection. And these are just beautiful shades. I love wearing this palette by itself. I love incorporating this palette into other looks. It's beautiful. And I love it, and I love this matte formula. I love this metallic formula. I can't talk any more good about it. And I just feel like it fits very nicely into my 10 palettes. So this is why I chose the Christmas morning. It's just a stunning palette, and Give Me Glow makes one of my favorite metallic formulas. Next up is my favorite neutral palette in my collection. I'm wondering if you all can guess what it is. It's the Nebula Side by Side palette. I talk so much good about this palette. I love this palette. I mean, here it is. So I got this in the Nebula Trend Mood box, and oh my gosh, it's an amazing, amazing palette. So this is just full of all types of neutrals that you need. You have warm tone neutrals, neutral toned neutrals, cool tone neutrals. These metallics, stunning. These mattes blend out like a dream. You barely have to work with them. It's just amazing. And so I feel like this palette is like the better extended version of the Anastasia Soft Glam, because there's a lot of like similar tones in those two palettes, but this by far takes the cake versus the Soft Glam. It's just stunning. I love it. I wear it all the time. When I want neutrals, I go for this palette. So of course this had to be in my 10. And let's talk about another newer palette in my collection, in which I have fallen absolutely in love with. I would say this was the best release of 2020. Can you all guess what it is? The Adept Cosmetics Plain Jane. This palette is perfection, perfection. This has all of the shimmery, sparkly, metallic, special, foiled, wet shades that you could ever want for your lids. This is why I love this palette. If you want a pop of something special, if you want to wear something on your eyes where someone asks you, wow, what is that on your eyes? This is the palette for that. So of course, this had to be in my top 10. If I ever want just something super special on my lids, this is what I go for. I mean, I reach for this, I feel like more than my singles now, which is kind of shocking because beforehand, my singles were like my go-to for something super, super special. But I mean, this is just awesome, just so, so, so good. So this would definitely have to be in my top 10. I am obsessed with this palette. I use it all the time. These shades are amazing quality, amazing quality. So there is one brand in here that is represented the most out of any brand. 3 palettes. Can you guess what that brand is? If you know me, you know I'm a big stan for Pat McGrath. So of course, that's the brand with the most palettes, and I had to include the Celestial Divinity. So this was the holiday palette this year. This is what it looks like if you're not familiar. So this palette is just full of beautiful metallics. It has 3 mattes, but it's mostly metallics. They're just absolutely stunning. A lot of these metallics too are a little bit less metallic, so I have done an all metallic look with this before, and it is stunning. I just love this palette. Pat McGrath hit it out of the park this holiday. There aren't any of her special shades in here, those Blitz Astral formulas, but you will see those represented pretty soon, hint hint. So I love this palette. It's very versatile, and that's why it's in my top 10. It's just a beautiful palette. Palette number 8 is my favorite Pat McGrath palette of all time. Can you guess? This is Pat McGrath Midnight Sun. So this is Mothership 6. So I love this outer packaging, of course, but if you open it up, you just have that traditional black lacquer packaging, of course, but I feel like the inside matches the outside really, really well. That beautiful gold right here. You have this purple, you have an orange, you have like this beautiful, like really light champagne-y gold, and these mattes and these satins are just beautiful. This is what I'm talking about when I say Blitz Astral Formula special shades. Those 4 shades in the, for me, left corner, for you, right corner. So those 4 shades, stunning. I love this palette. This is my most used Pat McGrath Mothership palette. Probably my most used Pat McGrath palette period, just because I feel like it's really versatile, and having that pop of purple in here just makes me feel so, so creative. So I am obsessed with this palette. It had to make the top 10. And this palette is actually a new Pat McGrath palette in my collection. Can you guess what it is? So this is Mothership 5 Bronze Seduction. So this palette is just a warm toned lover's dream. I actually got this palette during her recent sale on her website, 25% off. So I've actually never paid full price for a Pat McGrath palette. How about that? So this is what it looks like. I've used it a few times already. It is a beautiful palette. I mean, those 4 shades in the bottom left corner for me, just ugh. I mean, those are the Blitz Astral shades. They are stunning. The mattes are beautiful. The satins are just super, super nice as well. This is a perfect warm toned neutral palette with a little bit of a pop, which I love. And it's just stunning on the eyes, and now that I have it in my collection, I can't see it not being in my collection. So that's why it's in the top 10. I'm obsessed. I mean, if I could keep all of my Pat McGrath palettes in this video, of course I would. I was just trying to think about versatility and trying to make a very well-rounded collection. And the last palette, I'll give you all a hint. This is the biggest palette in my collection. Do you know what it is? This is the Glam Light Ice Cream Dream palette. I have it in this ice cream chuck packaging, so I'm gonna open it up, of course. And as you all probably know, it looks like this with this cute little ice cream cone on the front. Love it. So I chose this palette because I realized I didn't have any pastels in any of these palettes. And I love pastels for the spring and summer, and I wanted to have a palette with a ton of pastels as well as some other shades to kind of anchor it, and this palette really has that. So for that reason, I thought it would be a great addition to this top 10. This was the first palette I thought of. I knew I wanted a lot of pastels. I knew I wanted larger palettes for this video. So this was the first palette that popped into my head. I knew it had to be in my top 10. So I love this palette. These pastel mattes are beautiful. They are plenty pigmented. They're not like other pastel mattes where they're just like, you brush them on and it like poof disappears into nothing. I mean, these are true like bam pastels. I love them. Glam Light's metallic formula, as you all probably know, because I say it all the time, is beautiful. So I'm obsessed with it. I love it, of course. And then, I mean, these darker mattes too are just really nice. So I love, love, love Glam Light's formula. I love this palette. It is beautiful. I don't think I could imagine my collection without it. So those are the 10 palettes I would keep if I had to only choose 10. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I want you all to keep in mind, this isn't my top 10 favorite palettes in my collection. I feel like that's a very different video. These are the palettes in my collection where I feel like I could do almost any eye look that I could think of with these 10 palettes. So I was trying to think of something very well-rounded, something I know is reliable, palettes that I know could work well with each other. That was sort of the mindset that I had when I was choosing these 10 palettes. So these aren't my top 10 favorite palettes. These are just 10 palettes that I feel like would work well as a standalone collection and work well with each other. So I hope you all understand the difference between that. I feel like there could be a little bit of confusion with that, but I hope that clears it up. So anyways, if you liked this video, please like this video. Helps out with the YouTube algorithm. If you like me, please subscribe. Would love to have you all here. Welcome to the channel. And if you have any comments about this video, if you have any questions about any of the palettes that I showed you all, or if you all have any ideas for any videos, please leave them down in the comments down below. And if you have any questions about what's on my face today, please see the description box. I always link and list everything down there. So with that, that'll close out the video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for spending a little bit of your day with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.